as you observed that night, do you have any analysis of like the cross section of people? It seemed to me, at least on the live stream, to be pretty young people. Like if I had to guess, they were under 30, under 25, a lot of them.
Yeah.
Fairly diverse.
Yeah.
And did you have a sense that they were connected to the larger movement of protest peacefully that got swept up, or were there just people that seemed to be enjoying the chaos and just the destruction of what's happening?
Well, without having a scientific poll of who was there that night, what I observed seemed like a mix. They were young, like you said, and as I wrote in one of my pieces about that night, it was probably the most diverse gathering of young people I've ever seen in our downtown. And we know, those of us who live in Grand Rapids know that it's a segregated city, and especially downtown can seem very segregated. That night, it was quite a mix. I saw white people and black people side by side smashing windows together. Some of it did seem like, a lot of it did seem like what you might see in a riot after a sports event or something. It was just opportunistic. People were smashing windows because, when you're 19 and it's Saturday night, I mean, smashing a window, I mean, that's not totally a boring idea. Like, right. They had an opportunity and they smashed a window. And there were people down there with their friends. I mean, it really just seemed like a gathering of, there would be 4 or 5 young people in a group together, and some of them would smash a window. The friend might say, "No, don't do that," and they'd be arguing and be like, "No, let's do it. It's fun," or whatever. Yeah. So there was part of it, but I wouldn't separate it completely from the other stuff, from the political stuff. So I talked to 2 young people who kind of pulled me aside. They were like, "Hey, you work with radio?" And I was like, "Yeah, what do you want to say?" And they said, we're down here tonight, but it's for a good cause. And they were saying, we need a change. And they certainly felt that there was a purpose to this, that it wasn't just random smashing. Now, those 2 young people, I can't say, I didn't witness them smashing, so maybe they weren't a part of that. There were also lots of young people there who, their energy and their attention that night were not focused on the windows or the property. They were right up in police's face and using their voices and screaming things and saying things. And a lot of the graffiti, if you saw the messages, if you were down there before it got cleaned up, a lot of what they wrote was ACAB and fuck 12, if we can say that on this family-oriented podcast.
You say whatever you want.
All right, so that's what people were saying that night. And again, it was a diverse group of people saying that. It was white people, it was black people. But they had that message.
For people who don't know, just illustrate or just say what ACAB means. And
ACABs is all cops are bastards, and fuck 12 is a shorthand that came from. I think the references where these kids got it from were from rap songs, and what I've read online is that 12 was originally a code for the narcotics unit of a police department. But it just became shorthand, or the new way of saying fuck the police.
And they also say 13, they put 1312, which is the numeric alphabetic numbers of the ACAB.
So that was being said all night long. Sure. It was being screamed directly at police. It was just being said out loud, and it was spray painted all over downtown. So if you want to say that, like, what happened in the early morning hours of Sunday and the late hours of Saturday wasn't related to police issues or police community issues, I mean, I think it was, but it was a different messaging than what people wanted to say earlier in the night.
This Full Exposure podcast episode has been made possible through the support of Metro Health, University of Michigan Health, and Dr. Peter Hahn, who believe that creativity and the arts are essential to a rich, healthy, and fulfilling life.